Did you know that your superannuation, which might be one of the biggest assets you own, probably won't automatically go where you think it will when you die? A lot of people assume it just flows through their will, which it doesn't. And that misunderstanding can cause real heartache for the families left behind. Today I'm going to explain how super actually works on death and what you can do right now to make sure it goes exactly where you want it to. Here's the key thing to understand. Superannuation is held in trust by your super fund. It's not your property in the traditional legal sense, which means it generally doesn't form part of your estate and is not distributed under your will. So even if your will says, I leave everything to my daughter, your super might not be included in that at all. Instead, when you die, the trustee of your super fund has to decide who receives your death benefit. That's your super balance plus any life insurance held inside the fund. The trustee has to follow the rules of the fund and relevant legislation. But if you haven't given them clear instructions, they have discretion about who gets it. That's where things can go wrong. Under superannuation law, your death benefit can only be paid to what are called eligible beneficiaries. These are your dependents, which includes your spouse, a de facto partner, your children of any age, someone who is financially dependent on you, and anyone in a dependency relationship with you. Your legal personal representative, who's your executor, is also eligible. If you want your super to be paid into your estate, so your will can deal with it from there, that's an option, but it has its own implications, including exposure to creditors and estate litigation. So it's worth thinking through carefully with your lawyer. So how do you make sure your trustee pays your super to the right person? It's called a binding death benefit nomination. A binding nomination is a written direction you give your super fund that binds the trustee. It must follow it. As long as it's valid, there's no discretion, there's no surprise. To be valid, the nomination has to be the correct form required by your fund, signed by 2 adults who aren't beneficiaries, and it can only nominate eligible beneficiaries. Here's the catch though. Most binding nominations lapse every 3 years. If yours has expired, the trustee gets their discretion back. So you need to check regularly that your nomination is current. Some funds now offer what's called a non-lapsing binding nomination, and that's one that doesn't expire. Whether your fund offers it depends on the specific rules of the fund. There's also a non-binding nomination, which is just a preference or a guide. It's not legally binding, so the trustee can still exercise their discretion, but it does at least let them know who you had in mind. And if you're drawing a super pension, you might also have the option of nominating a revisionary beneficiary, someone, usually a spouse, who will automatically continue to receive your pension income stream after you've died. I've seen situations where someone has passed away, their super was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, their nomination had lapsed years earlier, and the trustee ended up making a decision the family hadn't expected. That's a stressful and sometimes costly situation to be in when you're already grieving. The good news is that it's entirely preventable. A binding death benefit nomination is not complicated to put in place, but it does need to be done properly, and it needs to be reviewed regularly alongside the rest of your estate planning. If you haven't reviewed your super nomination recently, or if you're not even sure whether you've got one in place, now's a great time to sort it out. It takes little time, but it can make an enormous difference to your family. At CML Lawyers, we help clients across Sydney and regional New South Wales get their estate plans right, and that includes making sure their super is covered. Give us a call or send us an email to make an appointment. We'd love to help. Bye.